So these next couple videos were shot over the last 3 or 4 weeks on these couple projects, just doing little things to try to finish up, I don't know about finish up, but just continuously finishing projects. And working on this tracker here and splitting my time with the Rambler and such. But there'll be, like, when I get the back, start closing up the back of it, that'll be a big deal, stuff like that. But doing little things like a tune-up and whatnot, I don't think anybody really cares to see that. So there'll be little videos here and there spaced out, but the big epic videos, not so much until spring, probably. Okay, so yesterday was Tuesday. I didn't do anything at all. I had a meeting at the school for Luke. But yeah, beyond that, nothing. Today, Wednesday, I'm taking a long overdue trip to the farm to take some measurements here. Let me show you what I got. So now that I've gotten the paperwork back to the tracker, I want to work on building my own hardtop for it. So I've got this colt here. This colt I bought, not quite 20 years ago, 18 years ago, 17 years ago. An old man had a collection of cars out at a house. I bought the front clip for my Courier, the original front clip swap for my Courier from him. And then I couldn't get this car out of my mind. It was pretty clean looking. The paint was a little faded, but not too bad. Just sitting there, and he said that he parked it because it was using way too much oil. Okay. He told me that the original engine was using way too much oil, and they put a junkyard truck engine in it, which intrigued me. So it's got a 2.6 out of a Plymouth Arrow or a D50. And I told him, you know what, I want to buy that car off of you. He says, well, I've got a deal going right now where I'm selling all the cars on the property to a scrapper, but I'll hold that one for you. And I didn't hear back from him. And I saw the scrapper guy show up about a month or so later, and I got a hold of somebody in town, and they told me that he had passed. So he put me in touch with his daughter, and I'm like, I'm not trying to make, waves or anything, but I really was just trying to save that car from the crusher. And she says, I'll tell you what, I'll sell it to you, get it out of there as quick as you can. I'll tell those guys that one's not one of them. So I went and got it, and about 2 or 3 hours later, I had it running, and it smoked. And I figured out what had happened was the original fuel pump had gone bad, and he put an electric fuel pump on it, but he never disconnected the mechanical pump, and it was pumping oil or gas into the oil, and it washed out the rings, washed out the cylinders. Now it had a little bit of rust there in a couple spots, I think, in the rockers, and it had one bad spot there on the roof, but it seemed like it was rust free. And so like I said, I had it running, and I drove it home 70 miles, and it went through 4 quarts of oil. But man, it hauled ass. I mean, for what it is, it moved. But when I really started looking it over, I noticed typical Colt Mitsubishi gusset rust. Just like my orange Colt wagon, that was a 76. It was super clean, but it had that rot in the gussets. Well, there's 2 layers of metal here. And so, like right here where the bumper is, the frame rail completely broke off when I stood on it. And this car's actually had a little accident damage before. So when I got underneath the car, I looked at the frame rails and they were gone. So there's hardly anything holding the transmission up. As a matter of fact, when I went to pull the 5-speed out of this, I just yanked on the thing real hard and it tore off. So the cross member. At one point, I was out here with my old power wagon that's long gone. And I tried to drive up over the car, and I did all this damage myself. Which, the car's a goner. It's not worth saving. This Corolla, same thing. It had a little more rust on it. This car was actually parked in 1978. It was a 71. It was parked in 78. It was totaled from a pretty small accident, actually. And the guy I got it from was another collector, really eccentric guy. His name was Cecil Shepard. Local guys know about him. He's legendary. He bought it and started collecting parts. So you got a 71 Corolla, you got a 74 Fender, which is roughly the same. I think that light is different. And the 74 had this rubber pad because they had these god-awful ugly bumpers on this little car. So here's a 71 bumper, here's a 74 bumper. And, the hood rusted out. But this one was even worse than that one. The frame rails are gone all the way back. So, again, it's a goner. I did have this one running too, though. I had to drive it with the choke cable because the throttle cable was seized. So there's the valance. That is a 73 valance. There's a 73 grill. And the 71 grill is in there too. Upper valance 71. There's also a Corona Mark grill. There's the 71 bumper. Yeah, well, anyway. At the time, the floors weren't bad. I think they're bad now. It's a shame. But it's just too far gone to save. And it's a 1200. It's not a 1600. So, you got the goofy brakes and the goofy wheels and all that goofiness that doesn't work. See, even in 1978, that was all bonded up from rust already. This car came from Missouri. But that was another one of those stories where I bought it before they could crush it. I got about 3 or 4 cars off of him. Now this Pinto I found it, I lost it, and then I found it again. And I was able to buy it off the guy. And the story I got from him was that a trash truck hit it, snagged the front bumper, drug it down the block, and bounced it off a bunch of cars. I don't think that was entirely true. But, as you see, it's got the body damage, but it's got a couple sets of fenders. It's got a lot of rot. When I did get it running, it looked like a geyser, like Old Faithful. One of the pistons is bad. Radiator shell is split, so I think they overheated it really bad and blew a hole in the piston. Regardless, I gave up on it at that point. There's no floorboard, with that rust. The frame has a bunch of damage. It's actually torn from the wreck, I'm assuming. But I digress. So what we're here for today is to take measurements. I'm going to measure the roof. I'm going to measure the hatch. So I've got 2 options on the tracker. What I'd like to do is make it into a tin top, hard top of my own design, and actually do it clean. But if that's not something I can really do, I can maybe take this rear hatch and turn it into a pickup truck. So that's what we're doing today. We're measuring this. I'm going to go ahead and measure the Colt. Either one of these 2 might work. I'm not chopping up the Corolla yet. I'm not chopping up the 61 Dodge either, but that's something else entirely. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get busy on this. All right. I just took 3/4 of an inch off of each side there at 22 inches below the top. And that should roughly be, I think it's 23 inches, but from the center there down to here is about 23, so we'll come back and trim a little bit. Other thing I'm doing, I'm draining the gas tank. I've got the fuel pump jumpered, pumping into the gas can there. It's been about 10 minutes and we're about, 3 gallons. I don't know. I can hardly tell. I don't know. But anyway, trying to get as much of the gas out of there. It's kind of old. It's not sour. Might be a little weak. It'll probably be fine. Oh, actually, I think we're full. I think it'll be fine running it in the Mazda, so that's what I'm going to do. But I want to get it out of there, get the gas tank dropped. Somebody's already either taken the gas tank out and just half-assed put it back in, or started taking the gas tank out. I'm not sure. All the bolts are loose, and half of them are missing. The filler neck little screws or bolts are missing. I want to pull it out anyway, drop the tank, make sure it's not completely full of rust. The last tag on this thing was 2014. Now, I know it's been run since then. I think they just kind of used it around their farm or around their house. It doesn't look like it's been super abused, but they were probably out having fun in the mud with it. The gas gauge is stuck on a quarter, I think, or an eighth. So I want to fix that while I'm in there. I want to put a new sock on the fuel pump, unless it looks great, then I won't worry about it. And we'll see about it. That was about 15 minutes it took to pump 5 gallons of gas. So I think that's a little slow, but I'm still running on the original fuel filter. It may be original to the rig. It may, whatever it is, it's the one that was in it. I've got a new one. So we'll see. And I'm gonna have to wait for Luke to get home. I need some help picking that thing up and putting it in there. I've been kind of puny these days and getting punier, so hopefully I can get this thing done before I am a complete invalid. But it looks like it's gonna fit up in there, so that'll be cool. All right, so we got some trimming done. Got this thing in-ish. I might trim the corners here a little bit more. Have to come up to there probably to make it sit flat. I might have to add a little bit in the corners here like I thought. Yeah, so that needs to be, let's see. Clear that up. Yeah. And then I need to trim it right here. You cut across all the way and bend it out because that's too much of an angle there. And you should come out about 3 inches so it can line up with the bottom. But it's gonna get plated anyway, but I need to be able to make sure the seats can move back. It'd be a lot easier if it was in line with that anyway. Let's see. What I might end up doing here is actually bending that out, maybe. Probably trim it some more, but bending it out a little bit. And then hopefully it will stay or lay flat up against this. And there won't be too much I'll have to do there. You see the top is lining up pretty nicely. And look at that. That is great. That is just too great. All right, well, it's time to put things away. It's getting dark. Okay, I got gas tank out. That wasn't fun. Those bolts are stripped, so that made it tough. This is what came out of it. Yeah. Surprisingly, though, the fuel pump doesn't look that bad. The sock wasn't even plugged. It's all buried. Now the sending unit looked horrible. You'll have to forgive me. I'm a bit under the weather. I got something going on with my eye too. Anyway, the sending unit was just completely crusted and seized on like 1/8 of a tank. So I took it all apart, cleaned it up, got it moving again, and it wasn't pitted or it wasn't really rust. It was varnish that dried to it, but cleaned it all up and I tested it and it works. So we'll see what happens there. The fuel pump does work. I had that video. I'll go ahead and show a snippet of it right here.
That sounds so stupid.
Well, that kind of makes sense. The wires going to the mass airflow sensor are all messed with, so that might be an issue. I need to figure out where the check engine port is. Hey, at the very least. Oh no, it's not going to drive like that.
It's not going to drive?
I don't think so.
How?
Go grab that gas can off the back of the truck, the little one. All right, we're going to throw some fresh gas in and see what happens. So in that video, you see it was running not great. It either acted like a mass airflow sensor, which I didn't have a code for, or a plugged fuel filter weak fuel pump. So when I drained the gas tank, I just crossed the relay and let the pump all the fuel up. And I couldn't see the end of the hose, but the funnel that the hose was in, enough gas came out of it be good enough for like a carbureted engine. Not good enough for multi-port. Definitely not good enough for multi-port, not good enough for throttle body. This is multi-port, this 16 valve. So that was likely my issue. Not happy about the tank. I'm going to soak it in vinegar and see if that doesn't save it. Either that or I'm going to try that anyway, but if that's not good enough, I'm just going to run it. I'm going to run it and just change the fuel filters, whenever. I'll keep one with me always. But until I find another tank. Apparently finding tanks for these things is tough. I don't know how big that tank is. There was something on the Facebook group that said there's a 16-gallon tank and there's an 11-gallon tank. And you can get the 11-gallon tanks somewhere, but you can't get the 16 gallons anymore. But I don't know, and I don't know how big that one was. I don't really care. It's not important at the moment. I didn't do anything with the cab here. I haven't done anything with that. I was going to drill a couple holes in it and just kind of screw it in place so it could sit there and I could decide what I wanted to do. I still need to trim these corners. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, so chances are I'm not going to get anything done. I'm not worried about water getting in there. I'm going to take it to the car wash anyway, but yeah, all those screws came out just fine. I got one thing done on the Rambler, so you'll see that in another video. But as far as this is concerned, as far as any of it's concerned, I'm done for today and probably tomorrow. Anyway, see you later. You ever go through front hub bearings? You buy a hub assembly sealed, and you go through them every couple of years. Well, this is probably why. That is all the grease that's on it. And it looks like white lithium. Now that red stuff you see is me with the high temp EP grease, but that is just chintzy. I mean, look at the race. It's like they put a quick little swipe of white lithium and that's all that's supposed to go. So I'm going to clean these up and pack them before I put them together, and then we'll have that back together. Okay, this side, not 100% back together. I still got to put the brake caliper back on, brake rotor. This side's basically done. So the hub is working. As you can see, it's in freewheel right now. And we switch it to lock. Locks in. You see it's on lock. You can see the CV axle's turning. Now we unlock it. But see, it doesn't go all the way back to free. I don't know why. But it is unlocking. As you can see now, it's not turning. So I don't know where the issue is. See, I can turn it back just a little and it doesn't make contact. So that's good. So now we're getting close. There it goes. Anyway, so I'm calling in tonight. I'll pick this up in the morning. all we're waiting on is the inner seal, that guy right there, for the other side, because I forgot to put that snap ring in, so I had to ruin the seal to pull it back out. I got the other hub all completely rebuilt. I just need to seal the top here. The gasket ended up in several pieces, and I don't think you can get gaskets for it, but I don't see why silicone wouldn't work just fine. So that's it for this video. Next week we will be back on it, and hopefully this thing next week will be on the road. Once the hubs and everything are back on it, I got to get the new tires put on, and I got to fix the seat brackets. Once that's done, I can drive it without a top. I think what I might do is try to find a bikini top just for the winter, keep the weather out. And then I've got that Pinto hatch that's going to work for the back of the cab there. But anyway, that's it. See ya.